They weren't satisfied where they were? Asked the little prince. No one is ever satisfied where he is, the signalman said.
Storybugs!
Hello and welcome to Storytime. Thank you for coming. We are going to finish some next chapters of The Little Prince, written and illustrated by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. And we're going to go pick up with chapter 22. Chapter 22. Good morning, said the little prince. Good morning, said the railway signalman. What is it that you do here? Asked the little prince. I sort the travelers into bundles of 1,000, the signalman said. I dispatch the trains that carry them, sometimes to be right, sometimes to the left. And a brightly lit train, roaring like thunder, shook the signalman's cabin. What a hurry they're in, said the little prince. What are they looking for? Not even the engineer on the locomotive knows, the signalman said. And another brightly lit express train thundered by in the opposite direction. Are they coming back already? Asked the little prince. It's not the same ones, the signalman said. It's an exchange. They weren't satisfied where they were? Asked the little prince. No one is ever satisfied where he is, the signalman said. And a third brightly lit express train thundered past. Are they chasing the first travelers? Asked the little prince. They're not chasing anything, the signalman said. They're sleeping in there, or else they're yawning. Only the children are pressing their noses against the window panes. Only the children know what they're looking for, said the little prince. They spend their time on a rag doll, and it becomes very important. And if it's taken away from them, they cry. They're lucky, the signalman said. Chapter 23. Good morning, said the little prince. Good morning, said the shopkeeper. This was a shopkeeper who sold pills invented to quench thirst. Swallow one a week, and you no longer feel any need to drink. Why do you sell these pills? They save so much time, the shopkeeper said. Experts have calculated that you can save 53 minutes a week. And what do you do with those 53 minutes? Whatever you like. If I had 53 minutes to spend as I liked, the little prince said to himself, I'd walk very slowly towards a water fountain. Chapter 24. It was now the 8th day since my crash landing in the desert, and I'd listened to the story about the shopkeeper as I was drinking the last drop of my water supply. Ah, I said to the little prince, your memories are very pleasant, but I haven't yet repaired my plane. I have nothing left to drink, and I, too, would be glad to walk very slowly towards a water fountain. My friend the fox told me, little fellow, this has nothing to do with the fox. Why? Because we're going to die of thirst. The little prince didn't follow my reasoning and answered me, It's good to have had a friend, even if you were going to die. Myself, I'm very glad to have had a fox for a friend. He doesn't realize the danger, I said to myself. He's never hungry or thirsty. A little sunlight is enough for him. But the little prince looked at me and answered my thought. I'm thirsty too. Let's find a well. I made an exasperated gesture. It is absurd looking for a well at random in the vastness of the desert. But even so, we started walking. When we had walked for several hours in silence, night fell and stars began to appear. I noticed them as in a dream, being somewhat feverish on account of my thirst. The little prince's words danced in my memory. So you're thirsty too? I asked. But he didn't answer my question. He merely said to me, Water can also be good for the heart. I didn't understand his answer, but I said nothing. I knew by this time that it was no use questioning him. He was tired. He sat down. I sat down next to him. And after a silence, he spoke again. The stars are beautiful because of a flower you don't see. And I answered, yes, of course. And without speaking another word, I stared at the ridges of sand in the moonlight. The desert is beautiful, the little prince added. And it was true. I've always loved the desert. You sit down on a sand dune. You see nothing. You hear nothing. And yet something shines. Something sings in that silence. What makes the desert beautiful, little prince said, is that it hides a well somewhere. I was surprised by suddenly understanding that mysterious radiance of the sands. When I was a little boy, I lived in an old house, and there was a legend that a treasure was buried in it somewhere. Of course, no one was ever able to find the treasure. Perhaps no one even searched. But it cast a spell over that whole house. My house hid a secret in the depths of its heart. Yes, I said to the little prince, whether it's a house or the stars or the desert, what makes them beautiful is invisible. I'm glad, he said, you agree with my fox. And the little prince was falling asleep. I picked him up in my arms and started walking again. I was moved. It was as if I was carrying a fragile treasure. It actually seemed to me there was nothing more fragile on earth. By the light of the moon, I gazed at that pale forehead, those closed eyes, those locks of hair trembling in the wind. And I said to myself, what I'm looking at is only a shell. What's most important is invisible. As his lips parted in a half smile, I said to myself again, what moves me so deeply about this sleeping little prince is his loyalty to a flower. The image of a rose shining within him, like the flame within a lamp, even when he's asleep. And I realized that he was even more fragile than I had thought. Lamps must be protected. A gust of wind can blow them out. And walking on like that, I found the well at daybreak. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you'll come back. We're almost done with this book. I'd love to read more chapters to you. We'll see you next time. If you guys enjoyed reading that story, would you please click subscribe down below? We read new stories just like this one every day, and we would love to let you know when there's a new story to listen to.